Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and today we're talking about MagnaCut steel and what is it that makes it the most in-demand metal on the knife market today. Let's check it out. So MagnaCut steel is essentially an alloy that breaks all the rules. Typically, you have three main characteristics we think about when it comes to knife steel performance. You have toughness, the ability for a knife to resist fracture. You have edge retention, which toughness can go into that a little bit too, but we're really talking about wear resistance, the resistance to abrasion. And thirdly, stainlessness, how rust resistant is a given steel. And typically, the more you push the performance higher in one or two of those areas, the more the third area suffers. Oversimplifying things a little bit, sure, but that's generally how it works until MagnaCut came along. Invented by Dr. Larrin Thomas, it combines high degrees of all three pillars of knife steel performance to get essentially something that is as well-rounded as any steel can get nowadays in terms of all of its levels of performance. So just how high performance is it? Well, it's hard to kind of quantify that without comparing it to some other well-known steels. And for this, we're gonna go to Dr. Larrin's website, knifesteelnerds.com, where there's a whole in-depth storyline of how this steel came to be, as well as other testing articles. I encourage you to go check that out. But the way he describes it in his conclusion of the introduction to the steel, you get similar toughness and edge retention to some non-stainless steels, such as Cruware 4V and Venatus 4 Extra. And I've seen Venatus 4 Extra specifically used on heavy-duty competition chopping knives that have to withstand a lot of abuse and hold their edge all through these high-performance testing grounds. That's the kind of performance you're gonna get while also being highly stainless. Pretty groundbreaking stuff right there. So, usually, when we think of new high-performance steels, a lot of times it winds up on the more exotic, more expensive stuff first. And while there is some of that stuff on the market nowadays, real high-end, great stuff using MagnaCut steel, a lot of us can't afford the big price tag that's often associated with those things. But there are options for those of us on more of a budget. None of these MagnaCut knives we're gonna look at today are cheap, but they are more attainable than some. Everything here is gonna be between $100 and $200 for your acquisition. So let's check a few of them out, why don't we? Now this knife right here by Spyderco was the first production folder to be announced using MagnaCut steel. And it makes sense that Spyderco would be one of the first to jump on the craze. And I do say the MagnaCut craze because in my long history of using and talking about knives, I have never seen a steel have as much buzz, especially not as much buzz so quickly as MagnaCut steel has managed to achieve. So Spyderco, with a long history of embracing new steels and being excited about exploring the possibility of new materials on the marketplace, it's cool to see them kind of leading the charge. And it was with this knife right here, the Native 5 Salt. Now, kind of the key driving force behind the Salt series of knives from Spyderco is ultimate rust resistance, not just in the blade materials they choose, but also in the handle and parts construction. They don't want anything here to corrode on you. And the fact that they are so forcefully behind MagnaCut steel for that series tells you exactly how rust resistant it is while still having those high performance marks. Now, the least expensive MagnaCut folder you can get from Spyderco is actually their Salt version of the UK penknife. Comes in about $105. The Native 5 comes in at about $151 and some change, whether you get the full serrated version or the plain edged version. Yes, it has all the stainless qualities of the Salt series knife, but it has the great everyday capable DNA of the Native 5. Namely, you've got a 3-inch blade, full flat grind, excellent slicing potential there, and a generous grip thanks to the full-size finger groove / finger choil there around the pivot of the knife that allows you to choke up if you need to, or you can choke back and just use the injection molded handle. You have bidirectional texturing there for a ton of grip, a 4-position pocket clip, which means you can carry it in any orientation you like, Easy ambidextrous controls thanks to the thumb hole for opening and the mid-mounted back lock. It is one of, in my opinion, Spyderco's kind of greater EDC designs of all time, available now with this excellent steel too. And even on top of that, the weight. It's a very easy to carry knife. Comes in 2.5 ounces for all of that capability. Moving up in price just a little bit for MagnaCut performance, you can get it for around $130 on the Kershaw Leek. We have 4 versions in stock right now while we're filming this video, both stonewashed and black coated blades and a couple different gradient colors on the handles. These come in starting at $130. You get that great modified Wharncliffe shape that this knife is known for, and its very acute tip is well served by the extra toughness from that MagnaCut. And the Leek is a classic at this point. You know, a just very capable everyday carry, slim-handled folder. These are aluminum with a liner lock. You have speed-safe assisted opening, a 2-position right side pocket clip, and a slider for extra safety here that can keep the blade from accidentally opening in your pocket if you're worried about that. Just a solid little design with a very, very desirable steel. For just a couple bucks more than some of those versions, 10 to 5 bucks depending on which one, the Kershaw Dividend is now available with MagnaCut steel. And there are those out there who refer to this as kind of the Leek 2.0, improved Leek. You can take that however you like. You can see there it is just a little bit larger, but still a very similar blade shape, similar thin geometry, and very acute cutting profile and piercing profile, about 140 bucks. Stonewashed MagnaCut steel, aluminum handles here again with some nice milling going on, a reversible deep carry clip, tip up position, so lefties can carry this on that side more easily, and the deep carry folks can carry it more deep as well if you like that sort of thing. You can also carry it tip down if you prefer, but speed safe assisted opening here as well. Fantastic action. Great profile, great for everyday cutting. If you prefer your springs to be button actuated, check out the Launch 15 from Kershaw as well. Just $145 for an automatic MagnaCut folder. As far as the action these knives provide, quite good. Feels great, and you have a great versatile shape. The whole knife kind of echoes classic Italian stiletto design, but kind of streamlined and simplified, but they went with a broader blade shape here rather than a more kind of pokey blade shape to give it a little more versatility for daily use. Aluminum handles, micarta inlays front and back, micarta backspacer, reversible deep carry clip. It hits on so many marks quite well and brings you that great steel at a very good price indeed. Next up, starting right around the same price, is actually the second knife I was aware of, production folder that brought MagnaCut steel to the table, and that is Hogue with the Deka model, the polymer handled versions specifically, starting about $144 right now. The blades on these knives are 3¼ inches long. You can get them with this clip point shape or a modified Wharncliffe, and both of them are nice, thin, and slicey in nature. But this one with the polymer handles is designed to keep the weight down, just kind of like that Native 5 there at the beginning. 2.1 ounces, so even less weight there. Everything on this knife is ambidextrous too. We've got a deep carry pocket clip, which is reversible, dual thumb studs, and Hogue's crossbar lock, which they call the Able lock. It's tuned great out of the box. It's finger safe. Your fingers never get in the way of that blade edge when you're closing it. And it's fun to actuate as well, not to mention quite strong. If you'd like a more premium handle material than the injection molded polymer here, there are plenty of aftermarket options, or you could also take a look at our KnifeCenter exclusive G10 version, which also comes with the MagnaCut blade steel, now coming in about $166. Same features otherwise. You've got black or stonewashed blade finishes, same clip system, awesome looking G-Mascus style red and black G10. It just gives you a little bit more of a stable feeling, a little bit less of a plasticky feeling than the base version for just a little bit more. But if the plasticky feel doesn't bother you, check out the Acta Verba A100. It's a little bit larger. We're at a 3.6 inch blade length here, and the price on this is about $184 right now. A few different colors can be had. Should be noted that You know, MagnaCut being a very stainless steel doesn't need a black or other colored blade coating to keep the rust at bay. In this case, it's just for aesthetics, and the black and red motif on this knife is excellent indeed. Despite the longer blade length and requisite longer handle as well to house it, it's not something that's going to take up a ton of space in your pocket. It's going to be pretty easy to carry. We can credit that to the light weight, despite being, you know, by the numbers, 0.6 inches longer on the blade than the Native 5, and in fact having maybe almost an inch of extra sharpened edge. It's the same weight, 2.5 ounces right here. We've also got a reversible deep carry pocket clip to keep it nice and out of the way when it's in your pocket, but pull the knife when you're ready to go, and it opens quite easily. We do have a single-sided thumb stud here, but it is reversible if you'd like. It comes with a glow-in-the-dark center insert as well, which is pretty neat. Overall, tons of capability with this nice long blade right here. Love the shape of it and the profile, but it's not gonna weigh you down. It's just gonna be ready to go. Now, apart from this knife, which was made in the Czech Republic, the other folders so far have been made in the USA. We've also seen some of the Italian-made knives kind of embracing this steel. The first is newly released at the time we're filming this video, the ACE Iona V2 from GiantMouse. A really cool kind of folding puko-inspired design, but with a very useful high flat grind on its blade that's just over 3 inches long of your MagnaCut steel. These handles curve down at the end, yet even for my slightly larger than average hands, they don't feel uncomfortable. Sometimes that can create a bit of a cramped feel, but I'm not really experiencing that personally. I'm able to manipulate this pretty deftly without much worry. Speaking of deftness, I do also like you can get right up behind the edge. Thanks to the handle design, you can grip very closely, transfer force more effectively, and control more effectively for finer tasks too. Reversible deep carry clip, liner lock, inset for extra bit of classiness. We've also got nice smooth washers in the pivot there, has a very fluid feel to it. Overall, super nice. Micarta handles. This is actually a black linen micarta. A green micarta is also available, but for black linen, this one gets really, really nice. I love the texture and the feel, and indeed the tone of it as well. Now, if you're not aware, GiantMouse the brand is a collaboration between two famous knife makers, Jesper Vaknaes and Jens Anso. The next knife is another Jesper Vaknaes design. This is in collaboration with Viper. This is the Vale, spelled Vale, pronounced Vale. Price on this one coming up near the top of our ceiling for this video, about $195 right now. There are some other handle materials available, including some nice wood options, and I believe a carbon fiber at this point in time. Those prices may vary, but they all have this very nice contour to it, a very sophisticated shape for a milled handle, something that's injection molded, like this Acta non-Verba, can achieve a more complex shape more inexpensively, but a milled handle like this takes machine time to do. So always cool when a company pulls it off as nicely as this. For me, it offers about a 3.5 finger grip unless I choke up into the choil area right there. But look at this, we've got a nice stout blade geometry going on. 3 inches long, crown spine for comfort, a little bit thicker for some extra rigidity and stability. Now, as I say a lot about drop points and about this size and shape, it's just a great everyday usable shape. We've got an inset liner lock on this knife as well, and two options for opening the blade. You can either use the standard flipper tab there at the back, or that nice set of reversible or double thumb studs that also work quite nicely. Next up, we've got the recently introduced LionSteel Nano. The micarta versions of this knife start just under that $200 mark. It just squeaks in there. Other versions, including titanium, are a little bit more expensive, but you do have titanium on the back of this knife in the form of its nice broad frame lock. And broad really does kind of characterize the whole knife. It's not a long thing, it's only just over 2.5 inches, but you've got a broad profile to the drop point blade and that broad profile to the handle, combined to give you a solid grip and a hard working profile. Provided you don't need the extra length, this thing is going to be able to withstand a little bit of punishment. Like the Viper, it is a little bit thicker. That goes to helping that punishment withstanding virtue, and you've still got a high flat grind to keep the edge slicing geometry a little bit nicer and a little bit friendlier day to day. The pocket clip is deep carry, it is tail mounted, and it is milled from titanium, not just a simple bent clip. Gives the thing a bit more of a premium feel. The lock is super stable. Now when it comes time to open the blade, there are a couple options, and you actually have two configurations for this knife. We'll get to the flipper tab in a minute, but you do have dual fullers here, front and back of the blade, which means you can not only reverse flick the knife, you can also just simply thumb open it like you would a thumb stud. We've also got the flipper tab here that works great, but can also be removed if you'd rather have a more clean profile when open. What that will allow is actually a little bit more grip. You could choke up onto the handle a little bit more without touching that flipper tab if it's not there, and it will also create an even cleaner profile when it's in your pocket. So something to consider if you're curious. Now another LionSteel, and actually their first to feature MagnaCut steel, we have a collaboration with Emerson knives. This is the L.E.One. Comes in regular price for this version, about $195. And the name, first of all, I love it. L.E.One, spelled out O-N-E. Leone means lion, LionSteel in Italian. And L.E., you have LionSteel and Emerson. Great collaboration, their first one, L.E.One. Not to mention, of course, L.E.O., law enforcement kind of connotations. Just one of the best named products in recent years, in my opinion. Not to say it's not just a name, the product itself is also very cool. You got a 3.2-inch blade in that wicked karambit hooked curve, but the tip has kind of been docked to give it a little more stability, but it's still going to be an excellent piercer right there. The handle is LionSteel all the way. Single piece titanium, a milled piece of titanium. That is some premier level manufacturing right there. No worry about lack of stability there. Nothing's gonna come loose or pop out or come apart because it's just one solid piece. I really like the integration of the finger ring here at the back. It's tapered back towards the ring. Everything's rolled over quite nicely. No hot spots. It just fits in the hand with utter perfection. As for the action, you have about 3 options right here. You can use the thumb cutout or the blade cutout for thumb or reverse flick opening. You've also got the flipper tab, which much like the Nano is reversible, or is removable if you would prefer, but that works well. And because this is a collaboration with Ernie Emerson, you have the wave-shaped opener, the Emerson opener there, which is designed to deploy the blade from your pocket. As you draw it, you can angle it so it catches the hem of your pocket and opens essentially automatically, and it's ready to go as soon as you grab it. Next up, Tactile Knife Company. Started life as the Tactile Turn Pen Company, which is still a thing. This is their knife division, and they have wholly embraced the use of MagnaCut steel across their lineup. Their least expensive knife is this, or it's a version of this, I should say. This DLC coated version is a bit more expensive, but the Bear, spelled Bexar, but Bexar County, Texas. It is a traditional slip joint knife that looks nothing like a traditional slip joint knife, starting at $199 for the plain titanium finished version here. The handles and the blade are super slim. Super slim for ease of carry in your pocket with that slim handle, and super slim on the blade for ease of cutting. This is just a pure out and out slicer through and through. Very thin, high flat grind, chef's kiss all around. As for the walk and talk, it is quite nice. You can hear it in the way it operates. It's just excellently put together. You have a little fob there at the back to spice things up. You can also swap that out for anything you like. I know a lot of folks like to kind of jazz these things up. It doesn't come with any kind of pocket slip, however, so if you do want something like that, you'll have to look for another solution or an aftermarket solution. But just slipped into your pocket right there, utterly going to disappear until you need it. You can also check out the rest of their folder lineup. It does creep above that $200 mark, but their Maverick crossbar locking folder has been a huge success. Their Rockwall folder from last year has also been a humongous success as well, so you can check those out. But they also have a fixed blade in the lineup, a small fixed blade, a almost pocketable fixed blade. This is the Dreadeye, also coming in $199 right now. You've got a 2 3/4 inch blade with this Tonto profile, very gentle, kind of everyday friendly Tonto profile. Stone-washed finish, MagnaCut steel, of course, because all of this stuff is MagnaCut steel. And we've got a Richlite scaled handle right there. Very cool material, kind of like paper micarta. It is made with kind of recycled paper product or paper fibers, and it feels very good in the hand. Even though for me it's only a 3 to 3.5 finger grip, unless I choke up on it, and I can get all 4 of my fingers on there. I just lose the advantage of the finger guard for safety up there at the front. But it's good to have options. I can really push some force behind this blade when I need to, like so, or I can choke back just a little bit for a little bit more precision, more deft cuts, and it certainly pulls that off. The downward angle of the blade makes it very easy to use that tip, whether you're piercing with it or cutting on a surface. This is going to be a very slicey little Tonto blade for that sort of thing. The sheath it comes with, there's actually 2 options. I have the leather sheath here, but there also is a Kydex sheath. It comes equipped with this J-style hook there on the side. Going to make it very difficult for this knife to accidentally slip off your belt if you slip it into a belt or a waistband. And also you can flip this hardware around, and I would probably attempt to pocket carry this knife just because I'm that kind of guy and I love a pocket fixed blade. But yeah, you can check both of those out right now. Last but not least, on the more affordable end of the fixed blade spectrum, we have the Ontario SPL series. Now, at the time this video is coming out, the future is a little bit up in the air for these products, as Ontario has just been acquired by Blue Ridge Knives, and we don't know the status of these knives going forward. So if you see one and you want to get your hands on one, don't sleep on it, because like I said, the future is uncertain. But it is a very cool and very affordable series. There are 2. The more expensive one is this dive knife right here. Comes in about $150. You have a partially serrated edge and a blunt tip. Of course, MagnaCut, being as stainless as it is, should be a great dive knife, especially when you factor in that toughness and when you might be prying with a blade like this. Very good stuff. The G10 handles on this version are a little more hand-filling than the pack knife 2, I should say. Very, very comfortable. The pack knife's handles are a little bit slimmer, but still decently comfortable. The blade length on this one is just under 4 inches, and you're about 4 1/4 on the dive knife right there. But this pack knife is just gonna be a great all-around camping style profile, in my opinion. Just a broad drop point blade with a full flat grind. Great material with great geometry is always a great combination. And the price here too, about $125 for these knives. The sheath here is hard plastic with a click-in system right there. Should give you some positive retention. There's some belt strapping options here at the bottom. Not the most versatile sheath system in the world, but very utilitarian. It's gonna get the job done. And when you're ready to draw the knife, you just push the button here and then push off of it, and it'll allow you to open or extract the blade. So hopefully you find something here that kind of spoke to you. Gotta say though, it feels great to be in an age of metallurgy and knife fandom where we are seeing such advancements in the field right now. It's a really cool thing. There's a lot to be excited about as a passionate knife user in today's marketplace. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and to get your hands on what you saw here, check out the links in the description, and we'll also leave a link to our entire selection of MagnaCut knives at any price down there just below this video. While you're over at the site, don't forget about our Knife Rewards program, where when you buy one of these knives, you can earn up to 5% back towards future purchases, which is a pretty great margin. I'm David C. Anderson from the KnifeCenter, signing off. See you next time.